Good afternoon, everybody. How's everyone doing? I'm going to read part 2 of Chapter 18, Overview of Harassment Methods Used by the FBI's COINTELPRO Operation GLADIO, Covert Community Recruits, and Stay Behind Armies, or the Instruction Manual for Community Gang-Stalkers. I read part 1 yesterday, and it was going to rain. And I did not want the video to be more than, 40 or 50 minutes. And I think it was 49 minutes long. So to recap, I read the general portion of the instruction manual for community gang stalkers, the surveillance portion, which was number 2. And I'm turning pages here. And number 3, the intercepts, which is how these stalkers intercept you when you're on the road, interfere with your ability to complete a task because a phone will ring, somebody will pull into your driveway, somebody will drive up and ask a question. Somebody will tap your shoulder in Target or the supermarket to interfere with your progress. So today, hopefully I will not be insulted by more little chickies here. And we're going to discuss the physical sabotage, which is number 4. And before I continue, I do want to report that we lost electricity sometime before 1 o'clock this afternoon. Of course, I thought it was maybe only my house, but there was a power outage reported. I actually have a feeling that I was the one that reported the power outage, but it is now 2:30, and the power has not returned. We do not have any wind. There's no storm, there's no rain. The power just went from being completely on to completely off. At first I thought it was my circuit breakers. I've tripped them back and forth, but no, there is no electricity. Which means I also have no internet. So anybody that's trying to contact me, I have not read my emails from this morning. So we'll continue on with the physical sabotage. Of course, I have a lot of experience in documenting this, both in 52 Sutton Drive, Manalapan, New Jersey, Northfield Estates, where I lived in a home that I was the original owner for 30 years. I actually renovated that home from top to bottom, new windows, doors, fireplace, floors, addition, vaulted ceiling, you name it. I've had 4 security systems, 3 or 4 locks, security locks, security cameras, etc. So with physical sabotage, it's an especially effective form of punishment when it is carefully limited to low-value items, below the value where police will take the report seriously. For example, burning a target's house down or even stealing an expensive appliance would bring official investigations into the picture. So that is not done. Actually, I beg to differ. I have had very expensive items stolen, including my mother's diamond wedding ring. I have had EMF protection devices stolen. I had a multimeter stolen in New Jersey that cost me $200. I had a pack of house filters stolen in New Jersey, and they only fit the units in that development. And it was a package of 3, so what was it? Maybe $100. So no, these are not low-value items. I know of someone who had her diamond engagement ring stolen. So no, these are not small items of sabotage. When you sabotage and etch into the floor of a $4,000 hardwood floor, that is not a low value item. It's never a low value item when you have to tear up a floor, even a portion of it. You have to hire someone, hope that you can find a match. You can't undo an etched floor. It needs to be replaced. So I beg to differ, because I incurred more than $300,000 of damage to my house at 52 Sutton Drive, Manalapan, New Jersey, including but not limited to the theft of $4,000 by Joe, also known as Jonathan Painter. Painter is actually his last name. And of course, the Manalapan Police Department refused to even take a report on it. So no, I beg to differ on that. The physical sabotage is a especially effective form of punishment when it is carefully limited to low-value items, below the value where police will take the report seriously. For example, burning a target's house down or even stealing an expensive appliance would bring official investigations into the picture, so that's not done. False. Sabotage producing extreme safety hazards is generally not suitable for operations because of the potential for bringing official investigations to an accident scene. False. These criminals sabotage automobiles, tractors, lawnmowers, ride-on mowers, with the interception of vehicles on the road. They have murdered people. I would suggest, or I would say that intercepting a vehicle on the road by a tractor trailer to push somebody off the road and total their vehicle is an extreme safety hazard. Also, intentionally targeting very large trees with microwave radiation and burning them so that they rot and will eventually fall, I would suggest that that is an extreme safety hazard. And it's actually happened here twice, where they took down an old walnut tree that fell on one of my buildings. And no, folks, it didn't happen naturally. It was done to it. So no, this is false. So while damaging the brake system of a target's vehicle is not allowed, for community-based agents, draining some of the oil, transmission fluid, or radiator antifreeze is allowed, but not all of it. The goal is to make it look as if the target is negligent in maintaining fluid levels and generally not causing a catastrophic failure that non-targets might see as sabotage. It's very important to apply punishment as a way of large number of small value sabotage acts, because that makes it look like the target is forgetful, exaggerating, or in some cases even delusional. If they complain about many cases of small value damage, the target's associates will simply refuse to believe that anyone but the target is responsible. Okay, folks, well, I will say that when I moved to Kentucky, Jackson County, 4 of my rescue cats were stolen from an enclosed building within 3 days of my being here. A couple of months later, 2 more cats were stolen, and one was stolen last week while he was sleeping outside. This is false. Perhaps when this report was written in 2015, there were guidelines. I don't believe that there are any guidelines anymore. I think these people are completely out of control. Sabotage is very important in that it lets the target know that they are totally helpless to stop it and can't even complain about it effectively without appearing mentally ill. See, this is their goal, folks. That is their goal. People that you've never met before will approach you and tell you you're crazy. Because this is the narrative that they are fed. And including, but not limited to, police reports, because the police are in on it. They laugh and giggle about it. They smirk, the narcissists smirk. They're all in on it. They know what's going on. And they enjoy it. They get off on it. And they will code your incident report. Or like in the Manalapan Police Department, Lieutenant Thomas Mantle wrote on my port that I was a terror threat for walking on my own driveway. When I reported the break into my house with evidence, the report said that I appeared to be paranoid, even though I presented evidence that was not included in the report. So they're all liars, gaslighters. Sabotage is applied at the target's home, workplace, and on their vehicle. This requires the assistance of locksmiths and alarm technicians. Your local control center will supply this help, and will bring specialists in from a distance in the case of rural areas. Well, I guess they bring specialists in from a distance here. Here are some examples of sabotage of a community-based agent may be assigned to carry out. And I want to report on the record, I have a pretty good idea who my community-based agent is. She is a female. I'll say that she's in her 40s at this point. She's got black hair, shoulder length, thick. When I was house searching and stayed at a hotel in Berea, Kentucky, she was walking down the hallway opposite me with a smirk on her face. This is the same woman that I've seen in Manalapan, New Jersey. And it's the exact same woman that I saw in town July of 2019. And I had her license plate and reported it to the sheriff's department, and it was never included in the report. So yes, little girlie, I know exactly who you are. I know what you look like. I remember you. So maybe they need to replace you. Get some other I won't even say it. Okay, so here are some of the things they do to sabotage your life, your possessions, whatever you own. They enter a vehicle or home and change the control and radio settings. Check mark. They replace window washer fluid with water, possibly destroying the system in winter. I don't know, folks. I'm not a mechanic. I don't know about these things. Scratching the paint on the target's vehicle and scratching furniture and values. Check, 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 check. I'll check that 1,000 times. Tire sabotage, from removing some air right up to slashing a sidewall if authorized by the center. Check. They punctured holes in new tires, brand new, newly installed tires in Manalapan, New Jersey, 52 Sutton Drive. They actually stuck nails in it. And then here in rural Kentucky, they slashed the tires of my ride-on lawnmower. Cracked the carburetor, sliced the leather seat. They do simulating a break in electric window heater strips. They cut off the 4-way flasher button. They remove substantial amounts of oil, transmission fluid, or antifreeze, but not enough to cause catastrophic failure. That's false. Because most targets and most people know that when they've had an oil change. You know when you've had antifreeze. You know when this was done, and you tend to not look for it until you believe the need for it. So the fact that you could perform these tasks and make the assumption that you're safe for another 6 months or 4 months, whatever, and these criminals come along and drain it, It can be catastrophic. Moving things around inside the vehicle to show the target someone got in, check. Unlocking the vehicle and leaving it unlocked, possibly even with the door open, check. Small cuts into the car's upholstery, check. Unlocking the target's front or back door, leaving it ajar while the target is away, even at midnight at New Year's Eve for year 2 hour, check, check. Moving furniture or carpets around fairly frequently to show the target someone was there, check. Stealing small value items, especially items like scissors, which can easily be replaced, keeping them until the target replaces them, then returning the missing item, often in a place the target checked. Check, check, check. Stealing important papers, especially those which will cost money to replace. Check. My passport was stolen. My mother's driver's license was stolen after she died. This is how low these people will go. That even after they murder your parent, they will go in and steal their personal belongings. They steal irreplaceable photographs, check. While the target is at work, they'll remove mail for their mailbox and toss it around, repeatedly making wall pictures crooked, check, check. Setting clocks to the wrong time, double check. Repeatedly dumping consumable supplies, coffee, to make the target think they're no longer capable of managing their supplies well. Check. I know how to manage my supplies very well. Starting small rips in new clothing, which are widened or on repeated visits. Well, this happens all the time, folks. And I know so many targets who've showed me photos of this. Ripping crotches out of the target's underwear, stealing the finest underwear, swimsuits, check, check. Replacing clothing with similar items which are too small for the target, like for children, that the target does not have. Oh, check. They replace... I've had leggings, which are supposed to be really tight, be completely stretched out where I put them on and they're sagging. Ironing inside button flags over, making buttoning the shirt or top difficult. Carefully working the tip of a knife through seams in any air mattress or cushion the target may own, including replacements on a daily basis. Yes, they have destroyed 2 airbeds, brand new. Breaking zippers in clothing bags, perhaps pulling out a tooth or two. Oh, yes. Yes, I've had zippers torn out of brand new jackets. The zipper pull actually cut, like with a wire cutter or something. And yes, they've pulled the teeth out of the zippers. Shoving a knife through the soles of waterproof boots. Oh yes, they're on. I'm on my 6th pair of boots. Here, let me show you, folks. They sliced this pair of boots. 6 pair of boots so far. At work, removing screws from the target's office chair, or at home dinner table, leaving only 1 screw of 4 left to tilt the table with china. Yes. At work, damaging or destroying, if not extremely obvious, the target's work from a previous day. For example, the computer is broken again, possibly worse. Yes. At work, replacing current copies of computer files with older copies, which is particularly serious if the target is a computer programmer. Well, I will attest to them going into my folders and rearranging things. I have a lot of folders, photos, everything is labeled and organized, and they have moved things around where I can't find anything anymore. At work, where some employees are or can be recruited to be community-based agents, they set up mistaken deliveries of heavy goods which block the target's office. Yes. At work, if the target is responsible for parts of the operations which can be sabotaged, do so repeatedly just as the target starts eating lunch or is about to leave home. At work where the target is responsible for materials that can't be locked up, sabotage or with special permission from the control center, steal the material. I've had so many items stolen from my eBay store inventory. It's unbelievable. And then what they do is they steal the items, which I know are in stock, and then they'll set up one of their perpetrators to purchase it. And then I'll go and see that it's missing or damaged. And usually those people that they set up to purchase the item have newly created accounts with 0 feedback score. Thefts have to be carefully considered and authorized by your local center. Unless you have authorization, do not steal. Well, I guess the people around here have free reign because they've stolen so much stuff here. One particularly effective type of theft is to remove a small value but often used items from the target's premises. Once the target has been observed purchasing a replacement, the item is returned. This not only causes the target to spend money uselessly, it also imposes a feeling of total helplessness on the target. At 52 Sutton Drive, Manalapan, New Jersey, my daughter's vintage Breakfast Club framed print, this was huge. It was like 4 feet by 3 feet. We took it off the wall to paint, and they stole it. They also stole a vintage Walt Disney Aristocats lithograph that was custom framed in an oak framed, double matted, stolen. So no, folks, they do steal high value items. They've stolen designer bags. And this woman named Maria, who's a cat rescue person, well, I can't even say that she rescues cats. She murders them mostly, steals them, resells them, and pretends to be a rescue person. She was in my backyard vandalizing the pet doors and stole a pair of my brand new shoes. So number 5 is sabotaging the target's reputation. Sabotaging the target's reputation and all that goes with it, such as the ability to earn a living, business and personal relationships, is a very special operations category. Newer community-based agents will not be assigned to engineer that method, but will assist in passing rumors, which are the main means of destroying a target's public image. I can attest to the fact that this was done to me. This was done to my cat rescue and to me personally. And I gave the example that we partnered, Freya's Cat Rescue, my 501c3 nonprofit, partnered with a jeweler in Connecticut who actually designed the jewelry as the Grammy Awards gifts. I created the artwork, and she designed a pendant with my artwork and was going to sell it. And then the proceeds would go back to my cat rescue. And we had a great relationship and things were working fine. And then suddenly, she stopped donating the money back, stopped all contact. I even sent her a certified letter to which I received no response. And I said that I believe that there is a slander campaign going around. So evidently somebody contacted her and she must have signed one of those gag orders, the NSL letters. So she stole money from me because it was all during Christmas time where we were fundraising frantically. And I know that people were buying that pendant, not only from her store, but from other places. And no, she has never contacted me again. Her name is Mira Alicki in Connecticut. So if you're hearing this, Mira, feel free to contact me and let me know why I haven't heard from you, why you didn't respond to my certified letter. And maybe you can disclose that you did receive a gag order and that you're part of the problem. Rumors consist mainly of lies. However, in order to secure operation of specific members of the community to participate in the punishment phase, additional information keyed to appeal to the patriotic or community service sense of such community members may be used as well. As mentioned earlier, the organization has many top psychologists and psychiatrists on permanent staff at headquarters, and some in larger population areas. It is their responsibility to design the campaign to destroy the target's reputation. And I'm going to speak on this. To the psychologists and psychiatrists that take an oath, that take ethics courses, to do no harm. You need to turn in your licenses and be arrested. Every doctor, psychiatrist, shrink that participates in this criminal program, you need to lose your license. You have violated the code of ethics over and over again. You're oath breakers, just like the sheriff's departments, just like the police departments. Whomever participates, the EMS workers that turn their sirens on when they're driving by a target's home, throw in your badges. It is you are responsible for the downturn of this once fine country. It is your program that is pitting people against each other. It is you that are medicating our youth, intentionally destroying them. So yeah, you psychologists, you psychiatrists, shame on you. You need to go back and take your ethics course again. And do no harm. And you need to report. You have a duty to report these criminal acts against innocent people. Shame on you. The people listed below can be approached and given information which will cause them to make the target's association with them uncomfortable or break off all contact with the target. Business contacts, supervisors, co-workers, casual social contacts such as clubs the target may be a member of, or a group that frequents a bar where a target is a patron, friends, local fraternal organizations. They are motivated by public service and are an excellent source of assistance in keeping the target under surveillance and participating in the punishment phase at all. I'm going to speak on this. Local fraternal organizations. Those are those men that wear those aprons. Those are those pedophiles. Those are those secret societies. Those are those Freemasons. Those are the people that are involved in keeping the target under surveillance and participating in the punishment phase. And I can attest to the fact that these criminals have been on my property, and I even know the name of one of them. Because he was so stupid when I moved here to offer me the name. I guess he thought I would not remember. So please stay off of my property, you losers. You are a cult. C-U-L-T. I want nothing to do with your cult, your symbolism, your forms of punishment that need to be inflicted upon your own sorry selves. Bus drivers on a target's route, local children. Okay, I'm going to chime in. Local children, this is child abuse, folks. Engaging in local children. This is child abuse. I'm going to get out of the sun, folks. I'm just going to move around just a little bit here. And I want to check that I am still being recorded, because I've had several people drive by, and it is widely known that these criminals drive by and disable my calls. So let me move over into the shade. And I'm being followed by some little hens here, some little chickie boos. Let me get over here. And yes, I am still recording. I'm at the 30-minute mark. Hello, chickies. See, this is how they spend their day. And I'm going to move back over here. It's a little shady. So I hope everybody's having a good day. This is a very serious matter, folks. And for the people that aren't targeted, you need to pay attention. So continuing with sabotaging the target's reputation. So they use local children, city employees, including emergency medical technicians, ambulances, homeless shelter staff, and residents were applicable. Family members, surprisingly, many are ready to believe the negative information, especially personnel at places the target applies for work. This is sabotaging the target's ability to earn a living. So now how intensely these sabotage operations are carried out is governed mainly by the need to prevent the target from learning that the negative rumors are being spread. Oh, please. Like I said yesterday, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand this stuff. I mean, of course, early on, it's hard to believe that there are some programs so sinister as to allow this to happen to innocent people. But once you figure it out, it just becomes so obvious, especially when you move to a new location. The goal is to keep negative information covertly flowing into the community in such a way that those receiving the information aren't likely to tell the target. One might think that friends and family members would instantly notify the target and side with the target. Fortunately, experience shows that co-opting friends and family is surprisingly easy once they're informed about the target's criminal record. These are all lies, folks. I'm going to tell you right now, I have never had a criminal record. I do not smoke cigarettes. I don't drink alcohol. I don't do pharmaceutical drugs. I've never done pharmaceutical drugs, except for the time I contracted Lyme disease by the perpetrators inserting a tick in my inner ear. Yes, folks, in January, in the month of January. This is what the criminals do. And of course, I needed doxycycline to squelch some of the horrific symptoms. So no, I don't smoke, drink, or do drugs. I drive the speed limit when I drive. I'm educated. I'm a good person. I've done community service, volunteer work. I've volunteered at homeless shelters. I have fed the homeless. I have volunteered to rescue animals. They don't want people like us. They want people like my sorry neighbors next door. The Nazis that live next door. The people that I call them gift card whores. Because that's what they are. They'll do anything for a buck. As long as they don't have to work for it. Oh, sure, I'll drive by and take pictures. Hand me my gift card. The headquarters staff have developed techniques which, by and large, prevent that. But those techniques are beyond the scope of this manual. Suffice it to say that it is possible to apply incentives quote unquote, which cause even people closest to the target to cooperate. These incentives are applied by specialists from our organization at higher than the local level. For the community level CBA, the work of sabotaging the reputation of a target takes the form of simply carrying out instructions from your control center as to what you say to whom, how, and when. And I'm going to add here that I know that in Manalapan, New Jersey, some of the incentives my neighbors received were home appliances like stoves, refrigerators, dishwashers. They would all be delivered on the same day, and you'd see them all be receiving these appliances. My next door neighbor, a family of 2, who are educated at Rutgers, who also participated, they had their heating unit from downstairs relocated to the attic, which is extremely expensive. And the people that they hired to do it were not anybody that I would even remotely hire to do any work, but yet they did, these educated people. So this was probably done for them, paid for them to participate, and also permit some of the directive line microwave, pulsed microwave energy weapons that were directed into my house. This is speculation on my part. Back then I didn't have the amount of evidence that I now have as to where the direction is coming from, although I did view on multiple occasions beams of light that were not a light. They were not a road light. They were not a yard light. They were coming from a device that was directed into my bedroom. Number 6, discrediting targets. While the powerful silent support of operations by the justice and psychiatric systems has been sufficient to prevent the target from informing the public, the area of discrediting targets is an ongoing activity. Like sabotaging the target's reputation, discrediting their public statements, websites, media appearances, letters to the editor, and the like are done under the supervision of psychologists and psychiatrists on their staff. If a community-based agent has a good track record of intelligently carrying out assignments and has access to a computer, the CBA may apply to the local control center for assignment to discredit work. Excellent communication skills are required. Some of the activities CBAs carry out under supervision are monitoring message boards, WOGs, W-O-G-S, and open media like indie media for target posts. This is normally done in special shifts and under scheduling and control at higher level than your local CC. This monitoring is assisted by blog scanning software, which will detect and instantly flag posts relating to activities. The CBA doing this work will immediately reply with comments like, "Someone isn't taking their medication." Oh, we all see these nonsense posts all the time, and this is what you do with those posts. Because this is harassment, you immediately report them to Facebook, Quora, YouTube. You immediately report them. If the comment returns, you simply delete. Delete, 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 and then you can ban the person. But then they have already revealed themselves. So the way they target you folks, you need to be collecting your evidence and take a screenshot of that comment. Like the woman on my YouTube channel who had maybe 6 or 8 followers who was discrediting me. And her banner had a license plate that said DEAD, DEAD, 666. Now, I don't know about you folks, but I wouldn't take anything that that person said seriously. Monitoring newspapers in your area for letters to the editor regarding activities. Most editors and many reporters have been recruited and are willing to assist in keeping important work of monitoring and neutralizing quiet. But once in a while, a letter to the editor will slip through. In this case, comments like, someone isn't taking their medication, are not an appropriate response. Transcribe and forward the letter to the editor or supervisor along with your proposed response. The supervisor may edit the response and will assist in ensuring your response is printed. I've experienced this, folks. I've experienced this in Manalapan, New Jersey, but I've also experienced it here in Kentucky. There's a local radio station called WWAG-FM, WAG-FM. And there is an editor named Sherry Brockman. And I have tried repeatedly to post an advertisement. And she refuses contact with me. So she's obviously been co-opted to not allow me the same services afforded to other people requesting those services. So yes, Sherry, if you're listening to this, please contact me because I've got an advertisement for you. And I'm willing to pay very good money for my advertisement that will not be edited by anyone. But I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out in this small community for being a perpetrator. Your supervisor will have staff monitoring incoming talk show appearances by targets. While most talk show hosts, even those somewhat sympathetic to targets, have received discrediting information and often will not host targets. Some targets do manage to get on the air. I've gotten on the air several times. In this case, your supervisor will assign you to call into the show and instruct you as to appropriate things to say, such as rebutting the target's claims, pretending to be a target, calling in and making wacko statements such as UFOs are harassing me, or pulling the discussion away from real activities and to something like media mind control. Oh, this happens on all of those calls, folks. We just ignore people like that. They're a waste of time. Agents who have excellent persuasive communication skills can be assigned with careful coaching and preparation from supervisors to pretend to be a target and get on talk shows known to air targets as guests. These opportunities are great ways to discredit targets by talking about UFOs, things like black helicopters following you, foil beanies, satellites parked over your home, and perhaps events normally considered, quote, paranormal, unquote, like seeing things that appear and disappear. These discrediting topics must be a total surprise to host, only mentioned after the show is in progress. So folks, I'm at the 44-minute mark, and this is all I've printed out for now. I will continue on to part 3 at some point after I've printed some more out. But, you know, as you can see, this is a little bit time consuming. And I've got some animals to take care of here. And at least we were able to get some perpetrators that were driving back and forth during this time. I could hear them in the background. But right now I hear some little baby guineas calling for help. I think that they're lost. So I'll have to go find them. And I hope everybody's having a great day. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading, and this is the end of part 2 of the instruction manual for community gang stalkers, also known as the criminals. Signing off.